Here's an interesting little thing to consider. Christianity, for something in the region of 2,000 years, has been telling us what God wants. The unknowable God, but of course they know what he wants. It used to be that God wanted us all to be poor. It's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. You don't see much of that with prosperity gospel nowadays, do you? It used to be that God wanted crusades, that he wanted all good Christian men to go out into the Holy Land and slaughter Muslims. In fact, the very first crusade took with it, courtesy of Peter the Hermit, a scruffy old guy on a donkey, took with it a letter delivered to him by an angel that had personally been written by the Virgin Mary, guaranteeing success. That was the Peasants' Crusade. It was wiped out within days of crossing the Bosphorus into the Levant. It used to be that God wanted slavery up until secular people like John Stuart Mill started talking about how evil it was, and eventually the secular movement gathered a few Christians along the way, and now they'll tell you it was the church that got rid of it. But no, they quite enjoyed it. In fact, in this country, the Church of England was one of the last institutions to give up its slaves, and it demanded significant compensation from the government to do so. It used to be that God demanded that all people went to church, but now God's more sort of spiritual, and you can have a relationship with God, and you don't have to read the Bible, and you don't have to really have a priest. It used to be that you couldn't read the Bible unless you were educated in Latin, because only a priest could tell you about the dodgy bits. And there are some very dodgy bits in the Bible, but that's for other videos. It used to be that God wanted you to stone people who work on a Sunday, but now in our wonderful capitalist society, working on a Sunday is one of the main things that keeps the wealthy wealthy and the poor oppressed. It used to be that God wanted us all to eat fish on a Friday. That's gone by the by, hasn't it? But you know what's really interesting to me? The amount of times over the years that what God has wanted has coincided so precisely with the wants, needs, and desires of the individual person telling you what God wants. I think that's a remarkable coincidence, but what do you make of it? Answers on a postcard or in the comments, please.